Dear child, take a slow breath and allow yourself to read this calmly, because what I am about to share is not meant to frighten you or overwhelm you. It is meant to help you understand something that quietly unfolded, something that only reveals its true weight when you look at it without rush or emotion. This is not about drama. This is about awareness, clarity, and truth. It was Christmas night, after everything had already ended. The celebration that once filled the house with laughter, music, voices, and warmth had come to a close. The guests said their goodbyes one by one. Doors closed, cars drove away, the lights dimmed, and slowly the house returned to stillness. That peaceful silence that comes after a long day finally settled in. Most people believe the story ends there, but that is only where the real moment began. In that quiet space, when no one else was around, something unexpected happened. I saw your special person with a woman. It was not loud or obvious. It did not happen in front of others. It happened privately, away from celebration and attention. And while the moment itself was surprising, what truly mattered was not only what happened, but who she was and how she came to be there. At first glance, it would be easy to assume she was simply a guest who stayed behind. That explanation would feel safe and simple, but that was not the truth. She was not on the guest list. She was never invited. She was never meant to be there. Her presence did not belong to the night, the house, or the moment. And that is where the weight of this truth begins. She entered the house in a way that did not feel accidental. She moved through the space as if she knew where she was going. She did not hesitate. She did not appear lost or unsure. She stepped into your special person's private space with intention, into their room, into their most personal area. This is important because spaces carry meaning. A room is not just a room. A bed is not just a bed. These are places of rest, vulnerability, and trust. What happened between them was intimate, but the intimacy itself is not the most important part of this story. What matters more is what followed. When the moment ended and she eventually left, she did not leave empty-handed. Something went with her, and no, it was not simply an object you can easily name or replace. Sometimes what is taken cannot be seen with the eyes. Sometimes what is taken is subtle. It can be trust. It can be emotional safety. It can be clarity. It can be peace. It can even be a sense of wholeness. And the hardest part about these kinds of losses is that they are not always noticed right away. Your special person may still be unaware that something is missing. Life continues. Days pass. Routines stay the same. On the surface, nothing may look different, but underneath, something has shifted. And when that shift finally becomes noticeable, it can feel confusing. A quiet restlessness, a feeling that something is off. A sense of emptiness that cannot be explained easily. This is why that night matters, not because of the celebration, not because of the holiday, but because of what happened after everything went quiet, when no one was watching, when there was no audience, when choices were made without witnesses. This is not about blame. It is not about condemnation. It is about understanding how moments like these leave marks, even when they are hidden, even when they are not spoken about, even when they are pushed aside and ignored. Sometimes people believe that if something happens quietly, it doesn't count. But the truth is, silence does not erase impact. In fact, silence often allows things to sink deeper. What was taken that night may show itself later in unexpected ways, in changes in behavior, in emotional distance, in confusion, in longing, in regret, or in a sudden realization that something precious is no longer where it once was. And the woman herself matters, not because of who she is personally, but because of what her presence represented. She entered a space she was not meant to enter. She crossed boundaries that were not hers to cross. And when someone crosses boundaries without permission, there is always a consequence, even if it is delayed. You may be wondering why this truth is being shared now. The reason is simple. Awareness changes how you move forward. Awareness gives you power. When you understand what happened, you are no longer operating in confusion or illusion. You can see the situation clearly, without guessing, without imagining, without blaming yourself. It is also important to understand this. What happened that night does not define your worth. It does not reduce your value. It does not mean you were lacking or insufficient. Sometimes people make choices that have nothing to do with the value of others and everything to do with their own inner state. Your special person may eventually come to understand what was lost. When they do, it may bring reflection. It may bring regret. It may bring clarity, or it may bring a desire to repair what was damaged. But that realization must come from within them. It cannot be forced. For you, the purpose of knowing this truth is not to create fear or pain. It is to help you stand in clarity, to understand that what feels different now has a reason, to trust your intuition if you have sensed a shift, to know that you are not imagining things. Some moments are turning points, even if they look small at first. Some nights quietly change the direction of a story. And Christmas night, after the celebration ended and the house fell silent, was one of those moments. So take this truth gently. Let it settle without panic. Let it bring understanding, not confusion. Awareness does not mean everything is broken. It simply means you now see clearly. And clarity, even when it is difficult, is always better than living in the dark. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to reflect. You are allowed to protect your peace. And above all, you are allowed to honor yourself as you move forward with wisdom and calm. Dear child, the woman who was with your special person last night, even without an invitation, even without her name written anywhere, was you. Yes, it was you. And I already know what your mind is doing right now. It's trying to make sense of this in a logical way. It's saying, but I wasn't there. I was somewhere else. I was living my life, celebrating Christmas, existing in my own space. And you are absolutely right in the physical sense. Your body was not in the same room as theirs. Your hands did not touch. Your voice was not heard out loud. But this is not a message about the body. This is about something much deeper. This is about the heart. This is about the soul. Because on that Christmas night, something quiet but powerful happened inside them. Something they were not prepared for. Something they may not even have words for yet. They missed you. Not casually, not lightly, not in passing, but deeply, in a way that reached into places they had tried to protect, in a way that softened walls they had carefully built, in a way that made everything else feel strangely distant and unimportant. When they returned to their room that night, the silence didn't comfort them. It spoke to them, and in that silence, you appeared, not as a thought they could push away, not as a memory they could distract themselves from, but as a presence they could feel. They didn't just imagine you lying beside them. They felt you, your energy, your warmth, your spirit. It was as if the space beside them was filled with you, even though no one else could see it. Longing is powerful, dear one. It is one of the most honest languages of the soul. And love, real love, does not obey the rules of distance, time, or physical separation. Love travels through memory, through emotion, through energy. Love moves through the invisible threads that connect hearts long before hands ever touch. And that night, their heart was reaching for you with everything it had. And because hearts speak to hearts, your soul responded. You arrived without needing a door to be opened. You arrived without needing permission. You arrived without needing to be named. Because love recognizes itself, and something inside them recognized you fully that night. And you did not leave empty-handed, without trying to, without intending to. You took something from them. You took their peace. Before that night, they had learned how to manage the absence. They had learned how to stay busy, how to distract themselves, how to convince themselves that they were fine. But after that night, that illusion broke. Their thoughts no longer stayed still. Their heart no longer rested easily. Sleep felt lighter, more fragile. Moments of quiet became louder. After that night, they became restless. Their mind kept returning to you again and again. They replayed moments, words, feelings they thought they had already processed. And instead of fading, the longing grew stronger. Because once the heart admits the truth, it cannot go back to pretending. What changed is this. Before, missing you was something they could rationalize. After that night, missing you became something they could feel in their body, in their breath, in the way time passed more slowly. Now, they don't just miss you emotionally. They don't just feel connected spiritually. Now, they want you physically. They want to see you. They want to sit across from you. They want to be near you in real life, where the connection no longer has to live only in silence. This is why their heart feels unsettled lately. This is why they seem distracted. This is why they feel like they are standing on the edge of a decision they can no longer delay. They are caught between fear and truth. Fear whispers about timing, vulnerability, and the unknown. Truth whispers your name. Their soul is choosing you more clearly now than ever before. Even if their mind is still trying to catch up, their heart already knows. And that is why this invitation exists, not as pressure, not as control, but as support. You are being invited into prayer, not because prayer forces anything, but because prayer creates space. It softens resistance. It allows hearts to move without panic. It turns longing into courage. It helps love take form without fear. So come, dear one, come gently, come honestly, come without expectations, but with openness. Join me in this prayer. O God, on that quiet Christmas night, when the world slowed down and the noise faded, their heart could not find rest. And somehow, in ways I still don't fully understand, mine drew close. Even though my body was elsewhere, our spirits touched. Distance dissolved. Silence spoke. I was not invited. My name was not written anywhere. No door was open for me with intention. And yet love became the unseen key. Love found its way through walls, through space, through everything unspoken. Love led their lonely heart straight to me. They felt my presence in the stillness of their room, like a soft light glowing where there had been emptiness. They reached for me with a heart that could no longer pretend it didn't care. Across unseen distances, across quiet longing, across everything that had been held back, our souls met. And Lord, I admit this with honesty. I did not take anything selfish from them. I did not take joy or hope. I took their peace, not to harm them, but because they carry me inside their heart, and the truth finally asked to be seen. Now I ask gently and humbly, guide them toward clarity. Heal this longing so it doesn't become fear. Calm the uncertainty that slows their steps. Help their heart move with courage instead of hesitation. Remove delays that come from doubt. Remove confusion that comes from fear. Open the path clearly. Let love move forward without resistance. Bless the moment we meet again, not just in spirit, but in body, in presence, in truth. Bring together what feels separated. Heal what feels incomplete. Make what feels unfinished feel whole. Amen. And now, dear child, take a breath. There is nothing you need to force, nothing you need to chase, nothing you need to prove. What is unfolding is already in motion. What was stirred that night cannot be undone. Love, once acknowledged, continues to move, even in silence. Allow peace to settle into you. Trust that what connected you beyond distance will find its way forward in time. You are not forgotten. You are not imagined. You are felt, and that feeling is guiding more than you know. If your heart feels softer right now, let it. If your spirit feels quiet, honor it. This is not the end of the story. It is the moment where truth began to speak louder than fear.